The highway patrol officer looked at the registration, then at the VIN plate, and stopped talking. That was the first moment my sister stopped smiling. Until then, she had been performing innocence with the confidence of someone who still thought the problem was a speeding ticket. She sat in the driver's seat of my black Aston Vale coupe with one hand on the wheel, oversized sunglasses in her hair, lips parted in that impatient little half-smile she used whenever she expected a man in uniform to make things easier if she sounded annoyed enough. The officer did not look annoyed. He looked interested. Then he looked at the dashboard again, then at the registration. Then he asked, very calmly, "Ma'am, who does this vehicle belong to?" My sister said my father's name. That was mistake number one. By the time she called me, the car was already on the shoulder under blue lights. I know because she did not start with hello. She started with, "Tell them it's fine." I was standing in my kitchen holding a grocery bag in one hand and staring at the empty space in my garage where my car should have been. That was how my week had already gone. I had flown back into Charleston the night before after 3 days in Denver for a brand conference. I got home late, dumped my suitcase in the hallway, and went straight to bed. The next morning, I hit the garage remote from inside the laundry room and stepped into a space that felt wrong before I understood why. Too open, too quiet. My coupe should have been there under the side light, glossy black, nose angled toward the tool bench, the silver key case hanging from the wall hook beside the charging outlet. Instead, there was nothing. For 1 second, I honestly thought I had parked it somewhere else before I left. That's what people always say in stories, and it always sounds ridiculous until your body is standing inside the evidence of absence, trying to buy time for your brain. Then I saw the empty hook. My spare key was gone too. I went into the house and found my mother in my kitchen making coffee as if she had every right to be there at 7:30 on a Tuesday. "Where's my car?" She didn't even turn around. "Your sister has it." That was how casually she said it. Not borrowed, not took, not there's been an emergency. Has it. I stared at her back. "What do you mean she has it?" My mother finally faced me and gave the small shrug I had hated since I was 12. "You already have enough." She needed it more. Needed it more. My $90,000 car, the one I bought myself 18 months earlier after the biggest contract of my career closed, the one I insured myself, registered myself, maintained myself, and kept in my own garage with both key fobs locked separately, because my family treated boundaries like decorative tape. She didn't need it more, I said. She wanted it. My mother poured coffee. Her SUV is in the shop. For how long? She lifted one shoulder. Long enough. That told me my father was involved. My mother lies emotionally. My father lies operationally. When one of them gives me a soft sentence with no timeline in it, the other one has usually already moved paper. Who gave her the spare key? Your father. Of course. I called him immediately. He picked up on the first ring and sounded irritated, not guilty. It's temporary. You went into my garage, took my spare key, and handed my car to Elise. She's family. So am I. That car sits too much anyway. That line hit because it told me exactly how they had justified it to themselves, not as theft, as redistribution, as family logistics, as if anything I owned automatically became available the second someone else in the bloodline wanted it loudly enough. When is she bringing it back? We'll talk later. No, that was the rule in my family. Delay the direct question, drain the urgency, let the theft settle into routine, then act offended that anyone is still upset. So I did not wait. I called roadside first to verify it hadn't been towed. Then I called my insurer. Then I called the connected app provider because my coupe had real-time location and immobilization controls. And that was when the problem changed shape. The app agent asked me to verify the primary device. I did. Then she said, "Ms. Rowan, I'm seeing admin access was reassigned 46 hours ago." I went still. Reassigned to who? A secondary household controller profile under David Rowan. My father. He hadn't just taken the spare key. He had added himself into the car's system while I was out of town. My stomach turned cold in a very specific way, not because I was shocked he would do it, because he had planned it enough to go digital before going physical. I asked the agent to revoke all secondary access and flag the vehicle. She started the process, but before she finished, my phone rang. Elise. I answered, and she said, "Tell them it's fine." In the background, I heard traffic, wind, and the clipped voice of a man asking for registration. "Oh, hey, where are you?" "On Route 17. I got pulled over. Just tell them Dad said it's okay." Then I heard the officer again, closer now. "Ma'am, step out of the vehicle." I took the phone away from my ear and stared at the empty garage. My mother was still in the kitchen doorway holding her coffee. "What did you do?" I asked her. For the first time that morning, she looked unsure. Then my sister got back on the line, voice higher now. "He says the registration doesn't match something. Just fix it." I didn't answer her. Because in that exact moment, I knew this had gotten bigger than stolen keys, bigger than a family fight, bigger, maybe, than the car itself. Then the trooper took the phone and said, "Ma'am, are you the registered owner of this Aston Vale coupe?" "Yes." He paused. Then he said, "Then I need you to answer one more question. Who authorized a replacement title request on this vehicle last week?" "Ma'am, are you the registered owner of this Aston Vale coupe?" "Yes." The trooper's voice stayed level. "Then I need you to answer one more question. Who authorized a replacement title request on this vehicle last week?" For 1 second, I thought I had heard him wrong. "A what?" "A replacement title request," he repeated. "Filed 4 business days ago through DMV Title Services. The VIN comes back to you as current registered owner, but there's an active title event, pending review." I looked at my mother. She had stopped pretending the coffee was enough to keep her hands busy. "No," I said into the phone. "I did not request any replacement title." The trooper went quiet. Then, "Thank you, stay available. Or do not remotely disable the vehicle yet." That last part mattered, which meant this was already beyond speeding, beyond registration, beyond a daughter driving a car her parents shouldn't have handed her. I asked, "What exactly is pending?" "A duplicate title application, and possibly more. I'd rather confirm before I say it wrong." Possibly more. That was the phrase that changed the room. My mother set the mug down too hard on the counter. "Don't escalate this." I turned toward her slowly. "You filed title papers on my car." She looked offended first, which told me the answer was yes. Your father was making sure Elise could use it without being harassed. Use it without being harassed. Not, "We stole your car." Not, "We tampered with the title." Just the usual family translation. Remove the crime, keep the convenience. Then I took the phone back to my ear. "Where are you taking her?" "Stand by." He ended the call. I immediately called my father again. This time he picked up on the 4th ring. "What now?" "The highway patrol officer says there's an active replacement title request on my car." Silence, not shock, calculation. Then he said, "It was administrative." That was how he chose to say it. Administrative. As if a $90,000 vehicle could drift into someone else's title chain because the paperwork was feeling casual that week. "What exactly did you file?" "A lost title request." My mother shut her eyes. "Too late." "Why?" "Because your sister needed to be able to drive it." "She can drive it with my registration and insurance card in the glove box." "No," he snapped, losing patience for the first time. She needed proof she had authority if anything happened. There it was. Not a borrowed car problem, a replacement owner problem. I asked the next question slowly. "Did you put Elise on the title?" He didn't answer. That was answer enough. I hung up and called DMV Title Services. The woman who answered sounded bored until she pulled the VIN. Then her tone changed in exactly the way I'm learning to pay attention to. Ms. Rowan, I can speak to you because you're the titled owner. I'm seeing a duplicate title request filed last Thursday, supported by a signed statement that the original paper title was lost during family transfer. My mother made a sharp sound behind me. Family transfer. I repeated it. What family transfer? Another pause. Keyboard sounds. Or then, there's also a transfer support document naming Elise Rowan as incoming owner by gift. I laughed once. Small, cold, unplanned, because that was what my family does best. Take something expensive, call it emotional, and hide the theft behind words like family and gift. I did not sign any gift transfer, I said. I understand, the title woman replied. That's consistent with the hold note. Hold note. The second time that morning, a system had already started distrusting my parents before I got there. What hold note? She lowered her voice. The duplicate title was flagged because the ownership certification included an electronic access screenshot from your father's household profile, but the primary owner verification did not match the file. No title was issued. The transfer remains pending identity review. Primary owner verification did not match the file, meaning my father had tried to use the app access to support a title change and still failed because the actual ownership record did not bend that easily. I asked her to email nothing, discuss nothing with anyone else, and note my direct denial on the file. Then I called the insurer back and placed the car under restricted use pending recovery. While I was still on hold with them, the trooper called again. This time his voice was different, not routine, specific. Ma'am, I need you to tell me whether you gave your sister permission to operate the vehicle today. No. Did you give David Rowan permission to file duplicate title or ownership paperwork on your behalf? No. Did you sign any bill of sale, gift affidavit, title release, or power of attorney related to the vehicle? No. He took a breath. Then, understood. The VIN sticker on the dash matches the registration, but the secondary paperwork in the vehicle does not. There's a printed title transfer packet in the glove compartment showing your father as transferor and Elise Rowan as recipient. I looked at my mother. She looked back at me with the first real fear of the morning, because paper in the glove compartment meant they had already moved beyond talk. This wasn't just something filed quietly online. They had armed my sister with a packet. They expected she might need to prove the car was hers before the actual title changed. The trooper kept going. There's one more issue. The packet includes a notarized owner signature page in your name. I didn't even need to hear the rest. Well, that is not my signature. I thought not, he said. Then he added the line that changed the whole shape of the case. The notary stamp in the packet appears to match one used in another disputed filing from this county last month. DMV fraud review wants the vehicle held. Held. Not ticketed. Held. On the shoulder, with my sister standing beside it in expensive sunglasses and my parents suddenly running out of soft words, I asked where he was taking it. Impound for title investigation hold, he said. You can recover it as registered owner after identity confirmation. Your sister will need alternate transportation. My mother finally found her voice. You cannot impound a family vehicle over paperwork. I took the phone away from my ear and looked at her. It stopped being family paperwork when you forged me. She had no answer for that. The trooper came back on the line. Ma'am, one more question. Does your father have any written authority to sign title documents for you? No. Good, he said. Because the packet in this car includes a limited power of attorney form that names him anyway. For 1 second, everything in the kitchen went silent. Then I understood. The spare key was never the real theft. The car was never the real theft. They were trying to move my ownership out from under me in stages. App access, duplicate title, gift transfer, fake signature, false power of attorney, and they had sent my sister onto the highway carrying the whole fraud kit in the glove box. For 1 second, nobody in my kitchen moved. Then my mother said very softly, "It wasn't supposed to go that far." That was the first honest sentence anybody in my family had spoken all day, not because it was complete, because it admitted distance, a point they had crossed, some line even they had not expected to be visible once the paperwork started touching real officers, real files, and a tow record on the side of a public highway. I took the phone back to my ear. "Officer, I want the vehicle held. I want every document in that glove compartment preserved, and I want a copy of whatever inventory you make before anyone touches the packet." The trooper didn't hesitate, already in motion. That was the moment my father understood the car was gone, not emotionally, administratively, which is worse for men like him. He took the phone from my hand without asking. "This is David Rowan. There's no theft here. But this is a family vehicle dispute." The trooper's voice stayed flat. "No, sir. What I have is a registered owner, denying title paperwork, a suspected false signature, an unsupported power of attorney form, and an active DMV identity hold. That is not a roadside family discussion." My father opened his mouth again. The trooper cut him off. "And for the record, your daughter identified you as the person who said she was covered." Silence. Then my father handed the phone back to me like it had burned him. I listened while the trooper explained the next steps. The car was being impounded under title investigation hold. The glove compartment packet would be inventoried in place. The notarized signature page, supposed limited power of attorney, duplicate title request copy, and gift transfer papers would all be logged. The DMV fraud review had already asked for the roadside inventory because the notary seal on the packet matched a cluster they were now rechecking. Cluster. Not a mistake. Not a one-off. A cluster. I asked where the car was going. "North Division impound lot," he said. "Bring ID, registration match, and title owner confirmation as soon as you can. Also, Ms. Rowan." "Yes? Your sister is asking who's picking her up." I looked at my mother. "You should go get your daughter." That landed. Because until that moment, none of this had touched her in a practical way. Not really. It had just been language. Risk. Theoretical consequences moving through somebody else's office. Now her favorite daughter was standing on the shoulder without the car. My mother grabbed her purse. My father didn't move. He was staring at the garage, staring at the empty hook where the spare key had been, at the kitchen counter where my phone sat, at the whole quiet mechanical sequence of things going wrong around him. Then he said the line I had been waiting for. "We can still fix this." No. That is the sentence people use when they finally realize the room contains evidence instead of family. I looked at him. "No," I said. "You can explain it." That was different, and he knew it. I drove straight to North Division with my title app, confirmation, insurance card, registration match, and my passport because once you understand your parents are willing to forge you, you stop underestimating how much identification a clean system deserves. The impound clerk was efficient, bored, and perfect. She checked my ID, printed the hold sheet, then slid a roadside inventory packet toward me. Every page was better than revenge. Vehicle stop time, route location, driver identification, secondary documents recovered from glove compartment, duplicate title request copy, gift transfer draft, limited power of attorney form naming David Rowan, notarized owner signature page in my name, same notary seal across all three. At the bottom was the trooper's note, registered owner contacted directly. Denies all execution, transfer, gift, or POA authority. Vehicle held for DMV fraud review. No poetry, no outrage, just sequence. That is what destroys liars. A detective from DMV's fraud unit met me in a side office 20 minutes later. She introduced herself as Investigator Shu, opened a thin file, and went straight to the point. "We already had a watch note on that notary's seal." I sat down slowly. "Oh, from what?" questionable vehicle gift transfers and duplicate title attempts, mostly family-related, mostly same county. She slid a photocopy across the desk. It was the fake owner signature page from my car packet. Then another. A digital comparison from the title record I had signed 18 months earlier when I bought the car. Even to a stranger, the difference was obvious. "This helps," she said. "A lot." I asked what happened next. She answered in the same clipped rhythm Ravi had used in the honeymoon script, and that told me two things. 1. Competence always sounds a little cold up close. 2. Cold competence is beautiful when it is pointed in the right direction. The duplicate title request is frozen. The gift transfer is void pending owner complaint. The POA form has no effect without your execution. And the vehicle stays releasable only to you. We'll subpoena the notary journal and submission source logs. We'll also want a statement on the household access reassignment in the vehicle app. I almost smiled, because the app. My father had thought digital access made him look legitimate. Instead, it time-stamped premeditation. By sunset, I had my car back, not because the system moved fast out of kindness, because every relevant thing matched me. License, purchase record, loan satisfaction, insurance, registration, original title profile, delivery photos from the dealership, service history, app ownership, even the seat memory settings still saved under my name. It turns out real ownership leaves a trail too, a much better one. When I drove it out of impound, the glove compartment was sealed in an evidence sleeve, and the front passenger floor mat still held one of Elise's lip gloss caps. I left it there until I got home. I wanted to remember how far they had taken it. My mother called that evening. She sounded exhausted now, stripped of strategy. "Your sister is hysterical." She was hysterical in my car. This doesn't need to become a case. It already is. Then she said the thing people always say when the file turns on them. We were trying to help her. No, they were trying to move my ownership into a softer narrative before the title caught up. My father called next. He went straight to numbers because that is where men, like him, go when the moral argument dies. "Ori will reimburse any impound fees. That's not the problem. We'll put the car back exactly as it was. You can't put the title packet back in the glove compartment as if it never happened." He went quiet. Then, "What do you want?" Again, not apology, not truth, terms. I looked at the sealed evidence sleeve on my passenger seat. "I want full written acknowledgement that neither you nor Mom had authority to take, loan, gift, title, or assign anything on that vehicle. I want access logs preserved. I want no one in this family touching my property, my documents, or my keys again. And I want all contact through counsel if you keep pushing this." He actually laughed once, small, bitter, cornered, over a car. That was the most revealing sentence of the day, not because it minimized the car, because it revealed how he thought. The car was never just the asset. It was a test case. If they could move something that large, that cleanly behind my back, then every future line got easier. I didn't answer him. I hung up. 3 weeks later, the duplicate title request was formally voided. The gift transfer died in DMV review. The false POA went nowhere. The notary journal did not save the notary. The app reassignment log showed my father initiated secondary control while I was out of state, which killed his temporary misunderstanding story before it could get dressed. Elise spent the next 6 months borrowing rides and explaining to people why Highway Patrol had taken a car she had already been posting, like it was hers. My mother stopped saying she needed it more once her own texts were preserved in the complaint file. My father learned that there is no dignified way to say, in formal writing, "I believed my daughter had enough." As for me, I changed everything: garage code, key storage, app credentials, mailing permissions, insurance contact rules, title access alerts. I had the VIN documents reissued, the spare key deactivated, and a hard ownership hold placed with DMV on any future duplicate title request without in-person ID and direct callback. That was the real ending, not punishment. Control returning to the rightful place. My parents gave my $90,000 car to my sister behind my back because they thought possession would outrun ownership if they moved fast enough. It didn't. Highway patrol pulled her over, looked at the registration, then at the VIN, and went silent because the car was never really hers to drive. And once the packet in the glove box started speaking, nobody in my family could talk over it. If this story pulled you in, tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.